Hello homesteaders, gardeners, and cooks. My name is Jennifer. Welcome to Miles Away Farm. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen. Today I am playing around with lemon balm. Lemon balm, it's in the mint family. It has a really lovely lemon scent to it. Reminds me a little bit of lemongrass. And it's a very nice, easy medicinal. It's very calming. It's got a lot of different medicinal uses, but the primary one is in teas and syrups and that kind of thing. And that is what I use it for. I grew lemon balm when I was in Colorado at almost 7,000 feet, and it was very polite. I had one plant. It stayed right where I put it for the entire time that I lived there, which was almost 10 years. I have lemon balm on this property in Southeast Washington at a much, much lower elevation where we don't have much winter, and it reseeds like crazy. I have lemon balm everywhere on this property. Basically, we figure, as my husband says, it's not toxic and it's not pokey. I'm just gonna leave it alone. So we don't really worry about trying to eradicate it most of the time. We just kind of let it do its thing. But I have patches of it all over the property. And a lot of times we just mow it down, and you can always tell when you've hit a patch of lemon balm because it smells really good when you run it over with the mower. But this is the time of year, we're in early June, and for our area, this is the time of year when you want to harvest it. Don't want to harvest it after it's started to flower and go to seed. Ideally, you want to catch it before that, although honestly, you could harvest it any time of year, but the best flavor that you're going to get in terms of concentrated flavors is early in the season. And I'm also going to post a video on how I dry it for teas, and so that will be up in the next week as well. But today we are going to use it as a syrup. I've been making basil syrups that you can then use in fizzy drinks, in cocktails, or in mocktails for a long time. And I just saw something on lemon balm syrup, and I thought, why have I never done a lemon balm syrup? That sounds absolutely delicious. And so we're gonna make some lemon balm syrup. And the way I use lemon balm as a syrup is I like to add a couple of tablespoons. This is 1/8 of a cup, which is 2 tablespoons. This is very sweet, and so you can use it to your own flavor preference, but I'm not a huge sugar person. So a couple tablespoons, and then this is just, you know, from a soda stream, this is just fizzy water, and I'm just gonna top that with some carbonated water. And now I have a lovely lemon balm spritzer. You don't get a huge hit of lemon. I think a lot of the lemon flavor is probably to some extent lost in the process of turning it into a syrup, but hopefully some of those medicinals are still in here, and it's just delightful. And it would also be really good, I think, if you added just a splash of citrus to this, so a splash of lemon, a splash of lime. But really lovely and refreshing. It reminds me of the bottled flavored waters. Obviously, this is not the same because it does have a few calories because of the sugar that's in the mix, but really delicious, a really wonderful, refreshing summer drink. So let's get started.
So whenever I'm working with fresh herbs, I like to sanitize them before I do anything else because I don't know what has flown over or stepped on or gotten into it. And so a tiny amount of bleach and a lot of water just to help kill off any microorganisms that might be on there. We have a little spider friend who came out of that pile. And then I'm just draining this on one of my dehydrator racks because it was too much to fit into a colander. Normally you wouldn't be working with a volume this large, and so you would just do a simple colander. What I'm basically doing here is a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio of water, sugar, and herbs. So you could start out with 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of fresh herb packed into a cup, and follow the same process, and it would give you a nice small amount. I'm making a large amount because I do some of this to sell. So filtered water, my sugar, I'm gonna stir this and bring it to a full rolling boil. And the final solution we're making here needs to be refrigerated. It's not shelf stable, and it's good for about a month. You could also freeze it. So this is not something that is shelf stable. Basically, we don't have a high enough concentration of sugar for it to be shelf stable. And if you're interested in the science of that, research something called water activity. And in order for there to be enough sugar to reduce water activity, you need about a 67% sugar solution. We're working with about a 45 or 50% sugar solution here. Just like with regular greens, it always seems like it's never all going to fit into the pot when you do projects like this. And then as you stir them and they wilt in that hot liquid, and then you just keep adding, they will eventually all fit in there. It always amazes me because it never seems like it's going to work, and then they all fit. You can see down there in the lower right corner that I pick out here, I clipped off a little bit of something that wasn't lemon balm, so very easy to spot once it hit the liquid, thankfully. Lemon balm is a really interesting herb. You can buy it as an essential oil, but it is wildly expensive. I just checked my normal essential oil supplier, and it's anywhere from $60 to $140 for a half an ounce of Melissa, which is the botanical name for lemon balm. And that's because there isn't a lot of essential oils in the actual plant, and so you need a very, very large volume in order to get a small amount of the essential oil. It is one of the most commonly adulterated essential oils, and so if you find a really screaming deal on what's called Melissa or lemon balm, most likely it's not actually the real thing, or it's been massively diluted into a carrier oil, because it is really, really expensive to buy. So I seeped our herbs for 30 minutes in that water after I turned it off. And then you can just generally remove that as one big wad, which is really handy. This is a filter for dairy milk, but a coffee filter would work here. I just find that this is a little bit faster than a coffee filter for doing larger volumes. And ideally, I should have reheated this after I removed the herbs so that it was boiling again, and I completely forgot to do that. It's really handy when you fill these bottles if your sugar solution is quite hot, because it tends to sanitize the inside of the bottle and keep things fresh a little bit longer and keep mold from forming. Because I didn't do that in this case, I ended up putting these in a boiling water bath canner and just boiling them for about 10 minutes to bring that heat back up. I have a second filter there that I'm using that's just a really fine coffee filter, so I filter everything twice. Basically, I'm just trying to get any pollen or any mist, dirt, or anything out of here. When they sit, it'll settle to the bottom if you haven't gotten it all out, and that's not what anybody wants. These are just swing top bottles. They are 500 milliliters, so about a pint. And then everything's pretty sticky because of that sugar solution, so giving everything a good rinse is not a bad idea. There we are in the boiling water bath canner, and I only had 5 bottles available, so the next day I had for a last bottle, and so I did reheat this to boiling. You can tell it's a little bit hotter for this last bottle that I'm doing. And you don't have to put this in swing top bottles. A simple mason jar would be perfectly adequate. And I had just enough to do that final bottle, which was really handy. And then if your sugar herb solution is quite hot, when you fill your bottle, you can just cap it and then flip it. And that boiling temperature will basically sanitize the top of that bottle, killing any mold spores that are in there and helping it sit in your fridge for a little while longer. For more insights onto lemon balm and its medicinal uses, give my other video on drying lemon balm a watch. I've got some more information in there along with some recommended herbal books. But it's really pretty simple to make this kind of syrup, and it actually works with any kind of herbs. It's wonderful with basil of all kinds, and I've done that for years. So thanks for watching, Tribe. Give this recipe a try. If you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment, and share with your friends. I have new content coming out every week.